Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report. It is Reaction. We are live on Tuesday, March 31st, 2020. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David the Octavius the Tiberius, the alleged backyard one-time knockout straight edge hardcore Hall of Famer hero. And what is this cup
You know what?
that you drink it from?
The draft is coming again, right?
We haven't announced that.
Well, but that's the rumor.
But we're going to do one.
It's on the dirt sheets that we're doing the draft.
Wait,
again.
we made dirt sheets?
Absolutely.
That's been my dream.
Yeah. And this is my reminder that I was in second place like 7 years in a row.
It's a mighty small trophy.
Well, what else do you get for second place? I'm lucky I got this. Usually
Not a
it's a hot
romantic-
dog and a handshake.
In that order?
If you're lucky.
Thank you for joining us here live on Fight TV. Coming off the heels of last night's Primetime Live. What did you think of that, David? It was a fun show.
It was
the
a
fastest
great show.
hour we've ever done.
You know what? I mean, it was dudes talking wrestling. And it was fun.
Probably a podcast somewhere called that.
It could be.
Thank you to Josh Chernoff, Drew Bay, and Jason Solomon for joining us last night. Tonight, it's Reaction. It's your show. And we just yesterday sent out an inquiry as to the topic of this show and what your thoughts were on what is the best WrestleMania match ever and why. And the why is where things get wonky because you can measure it in so many different
Do you
ways,
spell
David
wonky
Hero.
with a Y?
Physicality, overall performance, overall big timeness. There's so many different ways, so we want to hear your why, and you can join along and share those comments with us. We're commenting along with you right now in our social media places, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and we will engage with you live as the broadcast goes on. In fact, actually, no. Cal is in the social media lounge.
Oh, is he?
Responding
It's about
live
time he's
right
doing
now as
something.
we speak.
Jeez.
Well, he's been doing a lot. He's the one that makes this show happen.
I never really see him.
How's that
Is
possible?
it because he's in the other studio?
He's in the lounge, the social media lounge.
Oh, that's what that is.
There's a couch in there.
There is.
Whoa.
That's
What
not
did you
your-
think it was?
I thought that was your casting coach.
I don't have a casting couch. We're already casted.
Oh, all right, sweet. Well, then, who knows?
Folks, we are here joined, as always, by the lovely Linda Kay. Linda, how the
There
heck
she
are
is.
you here on a Tuesday night?
Doing tremendous. How about you guys?
Absolutely tremendous as well. Is that little hat behind you
That's
on the
Waldo's
pole?
hat.
It's a lamp. But
Oh.
I guess it
You
could be a
don't-
hat.
You don't ever wear that?
She's not
I'm
a
not too
Shriner.
sure.
Are you sure?
It doesn't look like one.
Linda has got your comments. She's going to be reading them along as we go along here tonight. But, well, the go-home edition of Raw last night, newsworthy for sure. I mean, The Undertaker.
It's setting up for SmackDown going into WrestleMania.
No, it's set up for Raw in WrestleMania.
Oh, but they still have SmackDown to get
But that's a
through.
whole different set of peoples on a different network with a different commentary team and everything.
Okay. Fine. I
All
won't
right,
get my
well, if
opinion
you're
or
just
my
going to
take.
be that way, then be
Nope,
that
nope,
way.
nope. It's your show. Run it.
So it is not my show. It's the fans' show. And we told you what that topic was, ladies and gentlemen. We do have, I believe, Linda, we did get a response via electronic mail to reaction at PWR show. No, that's our old name. Reaction at PWR360.com. And Linda, why don't you share with us who and what they had to say?
All right. Well, we do have a nice detailed email regarding the best WrestleMania match and why. And this does come from PWR superfan Jonathan Orchard from across the pond.
Ah,
Who
yes.
says-
The J.O.
Who says, most people will say Rock versus Austin WrestleMania 17 or Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 25. But for me, my favorite WrestleMania match is Roddy Piper versus Bret Hart WrestleMania 8 in 1992. And the
Fascinating.
why. The why.
That's the
Because
important
it
part.
was, yes, because it was the first match I watched that I really remember feeling emotion and having an emotional connection to the match. Specifically, when Roddy was holding that ring bell, getting ready to hit a bleeding Bret Hart, and the tension I felt and confliction I could feel watching Roddy when he faced whether he should win the match and hit Brett with the bell or not.
Thank you, Linda. Dave, this is an underrated match in the
I
annals of
never
WrestleMania
would
history.
have guessed that match in a million years.
It was fantastic. Both Roddy and Brett, I think, came in as faces, if you will, until the promo before the match. Remember that? Roddy said, I'm trying to make light of this, trying to have fun with it, whatever. Brett's being all serious. Roddy pulls the knucks or the belt out of the belt because Roddy was the Intercontinental Champion and said, you know what? After Brett said, I would have had you, he said, no, you won't. She be mine. And the Gene in the middle. And just that one promo, I don't care whatever happened leading up to that promo sold me on the match,
That's what did
which
it for
then
you.
delivered.
And you know what? Roddy Piper, that was the only title run he ever had in WWE.
Yeah.
And that's all he ever
Shockingly.
needed. Well, but he was so good and so over and such a dastardly heel or a great babyface, he'd need a belt. And let's be honest, Roddy's not the kind of guy that wants to throw an extra 10 or 15 pounds in a suitcase and drag it around. He still had the bagpipes and the kilt and everything else.
The match itself, Roddy was conflicted. And I remember Bobby Heenan's commentary. 1992, again, the best year of Bobby and Gorilla. But when Roddy was wondering if he should use that bell, if he should hit Bret Hart with that bell, Bobby said, what the hell? Use the bell. Hit him. I'd hit him. I'd hit him if it was me in there. Just the drama, the storytelling between those two men, two great athletes, but it's a story they told in that ring, and I agree with you, John Orchard, that was a tremendous WrestleMania match. Was it the best ever? It's going to take me a while to get there, but it was a tremendous outing by two tremendous performers.
Well, and of course they ran the whole storyline about them being family, basically, which is another emotion that you can, weave into the whole thing. But great match, but Jonathan, never would have guessed that to be in my top 15.
You clearly don't. Not in your top 15. No. Now that it's been raised, the issue's been raised.
Barely been top 20.
Really?
Yeah. I love Piper. I love Bret Hart. I think they're great. I legit, until you mentioned it, forgot that match even happened.
So you'd go with Hulk Hogan versus, who was it at WrestleMania 8? It wasn't Papa Shango. Was it Papa Shango?
It was Sid, I believe.
No, Sid did the run-in. Or was it Sid? Papa Shango did the run-in, and the Ultimate Warrior returned with the run-in.
And I wouldn't put that match in my top 22.
Flair versus Savage at WrestleMania 8?
Yeah, I'd put that in my top 20.
We're live here, folks, on Fight TV. Davey Nelson and David Hero. We're asking you to tell us your thoughts on what was the best WrestleMania match of all time and why. John actually mentioned a couple other matches, saying most people would say Rock versus Austin at WrestleMania 17, which I just watched this past weekend.
From Houston?
From Houston.
There's a lot of backstory in that match, too.
A lot of backstory. I didn't like the blood.
Well, and the thing is that Austin had to go to the hospital the night before.
Yeah.
With all the energy drinks he was drinking.
Yeah. Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25 in Houston as well.
Or 26. Either or. Both were great matches.
Two different matches. Both were great. 25,
yes.
I think, was better.
Yeah, but there was a lot more emotion in 26. Because there was something to lose. Shawn Michaels had his career on the line. Undertaker had a great run.
Undertaker's career was on the line too, wasn't it?
No. It was
only Michaels put his on the
Shawn
line?
Michaels. Because
Really?
he didn't beat him the year before.
Yes.
So, I mean, you had Undertaker with Shawn Michaels, Triple H, then Triple H again. And amazing. Great stuff.
Great stuff. Thank you, John Orchard, for sending that over from across the pond. Again, folks, every week we're going to announce the topic for Tuesday's reaction, and we'll do so and solicit your answers via electronic mail to reaction@pwr360.com. And it's interesting, David, I mentioned on every week on Tuesday's reaction.
Yes.
Last week we did reaction on Tuesday and Thursday. What had happened?
Well, what had happened was we got another show on Thursdays.
Yes, indeed. We're pleased to bring you a brand new broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. It is called Inside Story of Wrestling. And every Thursday night, live at 7 o'clock p.m. here on Fight TV, we are going to bring you an in-depth discussion with somebody who lived it. Not speculative, not he said, not she said, but the person that was there said. And we are going to be launching that broadcast with one half of the stupendous tag team of X and Smash of Demolition. Smash, Barry Darso. He's going to talk to us about answering
one of the
pointed
greatest
questions.
guys in professional wrestling, bar none.
Absolutely. We're going to ask him flat out, why are you not in the Hall of Fame? What's the heat? Where's the heat? What's going on? We're going to ask him about that matchup at WCW at Uncensored in 1995 about when he went up against Dustin Rhodes in the back of a moving semi-truck through the streets
You
of
loved
Atlanta.
that match, didn't you?
I remember watching it, and I mean, let's talk about it with Barry tomorrow. But we'll ask all the questions and how he felt about Crush, how he felt about Crush being added to Demolition, how he felt about being rebranded as the Repo Man as well. I'm looking forward to his answers to those questions. That's Inside Story of Wrestling, a new episode airing Thursdays from the Pro Wrestling Report, and tomorrow our guest will be Barry Darso. But before we get to your DWHS, David Hero, to the point of the best WrestleMania Mania match ever and why, let's go to the open forum. And this is where we discuss some of your questions submitted to us via our social media channels. And the first one, Linda, I think, comes from YouTube.
YouTube. My
Welcome
mind
back, Linda. That wasn't as fluid as I wanted it to be. That's my fault, not yours. Sorry.
No worries. So this comes from YouTube user My Mind Over Your Matter, who says, I would love to watch a WrestleMania special broadcast. That is a special broadcast with Nikki Cross and Asuka talking in their weird way. I think that would be priceless, with Michael Cole in the middle trying to figure out what the hell they're saying. LOL. Hope you had a chuckle. Stay safe, everyone. Let's DDT this virus at home.
Can you imagine the subtitles they'd have? I mean, which would it be? It wouldn't be SAP, would it? It would be the Viking one, and then the...
Why wouldn't it be SAP? Because you think that...
Well, they don't speak Spanish.
No, it's not just Spanish. It's secondary audio programming, not Spanish audio programming, SAP.
Why are you yelling? I didn't know.
Because we've had this conversation before. I've tried to educate you so you don't come across as that guy on this show.
I am this guy. I mean, it would be a nightmare. I mean, imagine the sign language people. What would they be, you know?
Maybe Shinsuke Nakamura can
Amazing.
do the sign language.
You know what, though? Nikki Cross, it's fantastic. I'm a big Nikki Cross
Are
fan.
you really?
Yes. She's very sweet, very nice, very funny, very
More
sincere.
so than Shayna Baszler and
I don't know Shayna
Rhea
Baszler.
Ripley?
I don't know Shayna Baszler, but I know she's going to win the women's title from Becky Lynch at WrestleMania.
No, that's just because that's what everybody else said yesterday on primetime.
But I made the most sense.
Thank you very much for that comment on YouTube. Linda, I understand we have yet another comment from one of our tremendous viewers.
Yes, also from YouTube. The Variety Vendor says, size matters, huh? Let me ask you this, David Hero. Who is more larger than life? Giant Gonzalez or Rey Mysterio? Who was the bigger star, Daniel Bryan or Eric Rowan? Connecting with the fans is always more important than physical appearance, especially now, when people are more cosmetically aware than they were in the 80s and 90s.
Okay.
Here we go.
So it's Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan or Rey Mysterio and Giant Gonzalez, right?
Who's the biggest star?
How about if I give you Hulk
more
Hogan?
larger than
How about
life
it's
star?
Hulk Hogan and Coco Beware if you're going to make those kind of comparisons? I mean, come on.
There's a lot more.
Do better than that.
Well, what are you attacking for? What's wrong with this? I think you engaged with this person on YouTube
but
as
here's
well.
the thing. If you're going to make that comparison, have them be on equal playing field.
But what do you mean by
You can't say
playing field?
Giant Gonzalez or Rey Mysterio.
The question is, who's more larger than life between the two? Rey Mysterio or Giant Gonzalez?
But hold on. Those questions are slanted.
How?
Because you picked Rey Mysterio. Okay? Rey Mysterio's not your average cruiserweight. He did things that nobody else ever did
Okay,
before.
La Parka.
I'll take Giant Gonzalez over La Parka. Because there's been like 3 different incarnations of the guy. There's only been one Giant Gonzalez.
What about Juventud Guerrero?
You guys are getting way off track here.
You said luchador, cruiserweight,
No,
whatever it may be.
I did not. No, I'm saying...
You just did.
Rey Mysterio and Giant Gonzalez, that's 2 different completely skill sets.
The question was, who is more larger than life?
Yeah. Well, those are dumb questions. I mean, That's like, hey, right now, do you want to go?
We're live.
Do you want to go
I
to
apologize to everybody out there who this shock jock is trying to shock.
No. That's not a shock jock. Think about it. Why would you say Giant Gonzalez? He's one of the worst talents in the history of the business.
It's a size conversation. You brought this up a couple of days ago
yeah,
on
but
Prime
look what
Time.
you're comparing him to.
Rey Mysterio or La Parca or Juventud Guerrera.
Okay, but Rey Mysterio is in the same echelon as any top main event guy.
Yes.
So then my argument back is, okay, pick Hulk Hogan or Coco Beware.
Giant Gonzalez had a huge match at WrestleMania 9 against The Undertaker
Yeah,
or
and
Randy
he lost.
Savage.
And he lost.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like Undertaker.
So he was a big star.
Listen, no disrespect, stupid question.
Okay. What about
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan?
You can't.
They both have beards.
They're both on different levels.
But the question isn't about their levels. The question is, who's more larger than life? Connecting with the fans always
Yes.
being more important than physical appearance?
But you understand. But here's the thing. That's like me saying, what is a great way? Fandango or John Cena is what you're basically comparing. You are. You're
They
comparing.
have different skill sets.
You're comparing top guys. If you want to compare Rey Mysterio and Hulk Hogan or Rey Mysterio and John Cena, that's a way better comparison.
Really?
Absolutely.
Not on size alone. I think the point
No.
that
I'm saying if you want to throw the size matters thing, have it Rey Mysterio against John Cena. Because
Okay.
now they're both top main event guys.
So what would your answer be then in that scenario? I think it's obvious.
it's a coin flip, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah, because Rey Mysterio has drawn a ton of money. I mean, John Cena is the biggest star, but there's not that much of a difference. But to throw in,
I'm baffled by this
but
conversation
to
right
throw
now.
in an undercard, mid-card, lower card guy with someone like a Daniel Bryan or a Rey Mysterio, terrible comparison.
I guess we'll leave it at that because you're not budging off your position there.
Well, it's like Eddie Guerrero and Brock Lesnar. Back then, that's more of a comparison.
Next comment, please, Linda, here in the open forum.
All right. This
Like
also
open
comes
mic
from
night.
Yeah, with some of these
this also
callers.
comes from a YouTuber. Celestial Bliss says, I'm so burned on WWE. I won't even go to their shows anymore when they are in my hometown. I really got burned out on them. I will go for an AEW show, though. I believe in AEW and feel that that is where I will mostly watch wrestling.
I think this in response to our question last week at
No, it
some
was
point
my
on the
statement
broadcast.
that I made last week.
Your statement that, you want to restate
That
it?
AEW fans don't go to WWE shows.
You said that.
I did say that, and
Yes.
it's proven true right there.
But he said this person said they're burned on
Burned out.
WWE.
Yeah, the celestial dreams or beings.
Bliss.
Bliss.
Alexa's cousin.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't see it. I don't see the people that sit in the first 4 or 5 rows of AEW showing up at a Raw or SmackDown show. They might go to NXT, but they're not going to Raw or SmackDown.
What about pay-per-views?
It's kind of a wash.
Okay. Thank you, David. Linda.
That's what I'm here for.
We've got one final comment this week, and it comes from Facebook user John M. Price, who says, I don't blame anyone who pulls out of WrestleMania. As someone with the virus, I can tell you that Vince is wrong for pushing Mania.
Thanks for that comment, John. Last week we asked if WrestleMania should be moving forward, and obviously it is. It's happening this weekend, and John says that Vince is wrong for pushing WrestleMania and not blaming anyone who pulls out. When we brought you the news of Roman Reigns opting not to participate in WrestleMania, we asked that same question of, can you blame anyone who makes that choice? And last night on Primetime, we went over Roman Reigns' comments and his response to some comments from some fans on Instagram where, you can't knock his response.
You know what's amazing?
What's amazing?
When WWE was going over to Saudi Arabia last year, how much heat did they get from the press?
From the
Fox,
press?
From everybody. All over the news.
Was it?
I thought so. Even if it was 15%. you don't hear anything about WrestleMania being on any of the main news channels. Of course, there's a bigger story to be told right now in the news, but no one is talking about it, no one is complaining about it, except for the wrestling fans. I'm pretty right on that. I didn't see your guy Chet Lemon talk about it.
Shock.
So you said that it was unfair to compare Rey Mysterio to Giant Gonzalez earlier in this episode. It's unfair to compare any news coverage WWE did or did not get about Saudi last year to the coverage they are or are not getting reference WrestleMania this year.
But what I'm saying is it's part of the news coverage. If everything is about the COVID-19 gimmick, then you got to figure that the WrestleMania show that's still going on when everything else is being shut down would at least make one breaking news story. Exactly. Mm-hmm.
John, of course, we wish you the best. As,
of course, absolutely. I wish John Price nothing but the best
from this, and thank you for using the hashtag PWR Live. Linda, do we have anything else from anyone else?
That's all we have for open forum this week.
What's that?
That's what we've got for our open forum this week.
Oh, fantastic. Well, you can participate, folks. Hashtag PWR Live. Follow us on our socials at PWR360, as you see there at the bottom of your screen on Twitter. Now, it's a little different, though, David, on Instagram and
Instagram
Facebook.
Is completely different, and so is Facebook, because you get more than 140 characters. So that's why it's now.
At PWR360 now.
Yes.
On YouTube, on Facebook, rather, and Instagram. And we do enjoy socially engaging with all of you, especially in these days of social distancing. And we do appreciate hearing your feedback and your comments. In fact, if you have any questions that you want to submit for Thursday's live broadcast, Inside Story of Pro Wrestling with Barry Darso, please submit them as well. Hashtag PWR Live. We do see, read, and respond to most of your comments. We see, read all. We respond to most.
That's because it only lets me get only a few.
Yes.
That's that legal thing.
Yes. Well, actually, Cal is better at socializing.
Oh yeah.
Media-wise.
He has way better penmanship.
Not sure how that exactly works. Folks, we're going to be live with you again tomorrow night. Brand new episode of the Pro Wrestling Report right here on Fight TV. And David, big news.
Huge news.
Huge news.
Humendous.
Coming from Fight. We'll share that tomorrow live. We'll do it. We'll do it live.
You're going to wait till tomorrow?
That was a tease. We want people to tune in tomorrow.
A
We
tease.
need ratings.
Yeah, we do.
I understand it's all about ratings.
It is about ratings.
We're going to preview AEW Dynamite. Big tournament announced yesterday for the TNT Championship. The participants announced during this show, during AEW Dark, which is that's our competition, I think, during the 7 o'clock hour on Tuesday nights.
Yes.
So we will have in-depth discussion about the round 1, the first 8, and then the second 8, along with the brackets tomorrow night on Primetime, where we'll be joined by our associates again. And I want to take this time to thank you, Linda Kay, for joining us and socializing and being the social media diva that you are. We're excited to see you here on Reaction with us every Tuesday, and I think you're also going to be joining us over the weekend with our extended reaction broadcasts after SmackDown, WrestleMania, and WrestleMania.
Yes, of course. I cannot wait to also catch it live with the two of you. I mean, I don't know how this social distancing.
Sexily. Feels like there's a little tingling going on here. It's well.
Spider sense.
Thank you, Linda. Linda Kay, ladies and gentlemen. What?
No, what? There's not a whole lot of whats. There's a lot of whys. But there is a lot of huhs because there's a lot of great matches at WrestleMania. You have Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. You have Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man, Randy Savage, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Lots of great 4.5, maybe even 5-star matches. But there's only one truly iconic match. And that was at WrestleMania at the Sky Dome. And that is Hulk Hogan versus The Rock, which in my opinion, the biggest WrestleMania match of all time, because if you're going to sit somebody down that has never really watched wrestling, but they're familiar with The Rock and they're familiar with Hulk Hogan, you put that match on, and from the time they come to the ring with the big over-the-top entrances, Hulkamania, NWO, The Rock smells what he's cooking, finalies, all of that, The energy in that match was off the charts. I have yet to watch a match in my 30 plus years, almost 40 years of wrestling, where the fans come completely unglued. And they didn't do a whole lot. There were no dives, no flips, nothing crazy. It was punching and kicking, and everybody was invested from the first lockup to the final rock bottom and the people's elbow. The Rock and Hulk Hogan, the most iconic WrestleMania match of all time. And with that, David Hero has spoken.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I wrapped it up with a bow for you.
So Hogan Rock Skydome,
Absolutely.
not Hogan Warrior Skydome.
No, Hogan Rock. Because again, if you only have 20 minutes to put one match in front of somebody and say, hey, I want you to watch this, this is what pro wrestling is, that is the match you do. Because it is emotion and you feel it. And the crowd is 80% of that match.
WrestleMania ended at that match. Then Triple H beat
I
Chris
felt
Jericho
bad
for
for the
championship.
girls that had the three-way after, and I felt even worse for Jericho and Triple H because that crowd was exhausted.
They're done. It's time to go home. I mean, after that match, that experience, nothing they did physically in the ring mattered or contributes to, I think, you selecting that match. The experience, the fact that they literally, Rock has talked about this, Hogan has talked about this, change course mid-match. Oh, shoot. Somebody's got to be the heel. Somebody's got to be the face
because
here.
Rock wanted to go the other way. He wanted to become the bad guy, and Hulkster said, no, stay the course.
In the ring. They called it in the ring.
But that shows you how awesome Hulk Hogan truly is. They may say he's not a hell of a wrestler. He's not a Daniel Bryan. He's not a Ricky Steamboat. He's not a Randy Savage.
Giant Gonzalez, Rey Mysterio.
But he's Hulk Hogan, and he is the biggest draw in all of wrestling. Everybody knows Hulk Hogan's name.
No, of course, you just said it about 12 times.
Because he's the greatest.
Well,
Brother.
that is tonight's edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Reaction. Thank you for joining us here live on Fight TV, on YouTube, on Twitter, and on Facebook Live. You know, on Facebook Live earlier this week, David Hero, we released some archive footage from the Pro Wrestling Report.
I saw that.
Interview that I had the opportunity to do with Stone Cold Steve Austin, who appeared on Primetime a couple of years ago. And in studio with us was, when he was Mr. Money in the Bank before cashing in at WrestleMania in San Jose, Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins.
You can find all those videos right now on our Facebook page, or the entire archive of all that we have done over the course of the last 20 years on our YouTube channel as well. So thank you so much for tuning in. Linda, thank you for joining us for that one. I'm Damian Nelson saying thank you so much for joining us here on the Pro Wrestling Report Reaction Live. We'll see you tomorrow night at 7 p.m. for Prime Time.